Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here with another electronic drum video. Today I have a cool project that I'm going to be working on, and I have no idea if it's going to work, but we're going to find out. So what we're going to be doing is, remember this thing? If you've been following my channel, we have the Pyle PTED06, which I always have to read the name because I always forget it because it's weird and too long. I have this tabletop drum set here, and I just set it on the stand in front of me. But I really do like this thing. I think it's really great for what it is. But I wanted to play around with it, and what I was thinking, I was like, well, can't I use this as a MIDI controller to plug it into something like, say, a Roland TD-5 drum module, which I have sitting right here. And this is my TD-5, if you've been following my channel, that I used to have on this kit over here before I replaced it with a TD-8. And I really love the TD-5. It's a really cool sounding module. It's very old, from 1994. But I think it sounds really great, actually, and I've recorded a lot of music with this thing already, and I kind of missed it when I took it off of this kit, even though I do love the TD-8 as well. It's just a different sounding module. This thing has a cool sound to it. So anyway, I'm blabbing about here, but I wanted to see if I could control it via MIDI, the MIDI output from the Pyle PTED06. However, the MIDI input on the TD-5 is just a standard DIN MIDI port here. You have your MIDI in and out, but on the Pyle PTED06 we have a USB. So how are we going to do that? We can't, plug the USB into the MIDI cable, and they don't really have like an adapter like that, really, exactly. Well, kinda. I'm going to show you that here in a second. But before we do, why don't we talk about my sponsor, which is DistroKid. DistroKid, or I don't know where that logo is going to be, somewhere. I'll figure that out in post. But DistroKid are a really, really good company. They can get your music on all the streaming services for one low annual fee. It's only $20, $19.99 per year. You can upload as much music as you want all year round. You can get on Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, Instagram, Deezer, Amazon Music, Google Music, pretty much anywhere music is streamed, DistroKid can get your music there for one low annual fee. They also get you on Spotify playlists. You can get instant verification through Spotify. They give you a page called Hyperfollow that has all of your streaming links all in one page, so you can share that with all your followers. So they're just really, really great. I use them myself. It's a really good deal. And plus they get your music to all those services really fast. It's like way faster than anybody else, or at least anybody that I've used in the past. So I highly recommend DistroKid. If you want to get 7% off that already low annual fee, click my link down below and you'll get a discount. All right, so this is a MIDIPlus USB MIDI host. Now, of course, some of you are probably thinking I could just plug it into my computer and then run out from the computer into the TD-5, but I don't want to do all that. I want to have something I could carry around with me. If I want to take this as a controller and play a different drum module as the sounds. And another bonus to that is something else, but I'll show you that here in a minute. What this thing does, sorry I'm rambling, I'm just excited to try this. What this thing does is basically takes a standard USB-A port and then sends you a MIDI in and out, and then you just plug this in. You don't need a computer, it just has a power supply that comes with it, which is right here. And I'm thinking, this should work. I don't see why it shouldn't. It's basically what this thing is designed for. So I can run out from USB into this box, and then the MIDI in and out into my TD-5 module. So that's what I'm going to do. But I wanted to show you, though, what else. So another reason why I really want to try this is because the Pyle uses switches for the bass drum and the hi-hat, which means they're not velocity sensitive in any way. The bass drum isn't at all. I wanted to be able to use my Roland KD7 kick drum trigger, but I can't do that just plugging it into the Pyle. It won't work. But if I'm controlling my TD-5 with the Pyle, then I can plug the kick drum trigger directly into the TD-5, as well as this Roland FD7 hi-hat controller. So I'll be able to use two real kick drum and hi-hat triggers, and then hopefully be able to control all the sounds with the TD-5 module from the Pyle PTED06. So basically giving me an ultra portable kind of budget multi-pad drum set rather than having to buy one of the Roland controllers. So let's go ahead and hook everything up and see if this works. I have no idea if it will, but I think it will, so we'll see. Okay, first let's talk about how I've got all this stuff hooked up. So as you can see here, I have my TD-5 module connected basically to this stand here. It's a snare stand, and I'm just using a standard Roland drum module clamp to the snare stand. And then I have the PTED07, or D06 rather, right there. And okay, so then I have, if we go around to the other side, the MIDI host, which is going from the USB out on the Pyle to the MIDI host USB input, and then the MIDI out from the USB host to the MIDI input on the Roland TD-5. And then here I have my Roland FD7 and KD7 both plugged into the module directly, because there's no way to plug those type of triggers into the PTE D06. So what I'm thinking is, the MIDI from the pads should be able to control the drum sounds here, and then the triggers by the feet plug directly into the module itself. The only drawback that I can see, well, I don't know if it works yet, I haven't tried it, but if it does work, the only drawback I can see here really is having to have so many power adapters connected. I basically have 3 different powers that I need to plug in. So as long as I have a power strip, it's okay, but I have the power from the Pyle, the power from the MIDIPlus, and then the power from the Roland module, where if I were just using the Pyle, then I would obviously only have 1 power connection. So it definitely takes more power. But okay, let's hook it up, or plug in the output and everything and see if it works. Okay, so I am not getting any sounds when I strike any of the pads so far. So not really sure what's going on. I do notice that if I look at the MIDIPlus MIDI host, when I have the USB plugged in from the Pyle, I do get a green light. So if I unplug USB from the Pyle, you'll see how it turns red. So it definitely is seeing the Pyle plugged into it. Now what I'm not sure about is if the USB out, or the MIDI out from the MIDIPlus is sending a valid MIDI signal or not to the Roland. So I think the way I can figure this out is actually to plug the MIDI output from the MIDIPlus MIDI host into my PC temporarily and open up MIDI-OX and then play on the pads to see if anything happens or if I'm getting any signal at all. So I'm going to try that now, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so what you're looking at there is MIDI-OX, and now I'm getting a signal. When I first plugged it in though, and I was hitting the pads, I was not getting anything. So I unplugged the power from the MIDI host with everything else plugged in, and then plugged it back in, and now it seems to be working. So I have a feeling if I hook it back up now, it's probably gonna work. And it does look like that they're going on MIDI, I'm sorry if you can't see that, but it does look like they're going on MIDI channel 10, which is exactly what we want. And if you're not familiar with MIDI-OX, it is a really cool tool. I'll post it in the link down below. It's just a really great tool for troubleshooting MIDI, as well as you can do SysX dumps and things like that in MIDI. So it's really cool. But anyway, a little off topic, but it's very useful, and in this situation, it was useful. So, all right, I'm gonna hook this back up and let's play some drums. All right, so I think the experiment was kind of a success, but I actually think the MIDI host that I received is defective because what's happening is, as you saw in the video, is it'll be working fine and then it just stops. And the only way to get it to work again is to unplug the power and then plug it back in. The power never seems to go off. The light stays on the whole time, but it just does that. It just doesn't send a MIDI signal out until I unplug the power and then plug it back in. So what I think I'm gonna do is actually contact MIDIPlus or just exchange it for another one and see if a second one will do the same, or see if the second one has the same issue as this one does. But you know, I want it to work because when it's working, it's really cool. It's, you know, this Pyle as a controller is really not that bad at all. And in conjunction with my Roland pedals, it is a really, really great portable setup. So I would love to be able to use that. But like I said, I just don't know if this thing's gonna cut the mustard or not because it does seem to be really, really unreliable. I even did try to change the 5-volt power supply with another one that I had here, and it didn't really make any difference. Well, at first I thought it was making a difference, and I played for about 5 minutes, but then it started to cut out again and do the same exact thing. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But I am going to try to get it resolved if I can. I'm going to check some of the comments and reviews as well on this thing and see if I see anybody else that had the same issue as me. Maybe I just got a bad one and I can just send it back and get a new one and maybe it'll work fine. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm going to continue working on this. And once again, thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload new content. And don't forget to check out my music, Demonic Sweaters, or my other project, which is called Manasota. There'll be links down below. You can subscribe on Spotify, or check out my record label, which is anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys really soon. Later.